the other thing I wanted to show you, this is another thing I added. This is an external module, and it's called report tweaks. And if you look at the documentation, it tells you virtually nothing. So there is some other documentation there. I want to make sure that I've got something set up here. So if I look at my reports, and let me see about my edit here. Oh, okay. So it was a little confusing to me at first. So if this is turned on, then you will see more options for your report. So let me create a new report. I'm still playing with this a little bit. But here are the report tweaks. And this kind of needs to, you need to set this up when you first design your report, I think. But a lot of times in a report, you will see like an event number instead of a name. If you want to show the name in a report, you can do that. Frequently, you'll get multiple rows and you really only want one row. Rows with no data other than the ID. You know, this has always been something that has been frustrating. It was, I think about 6 months ago, an investigator had written me that I've worked with a lot and said, you know, he was designing his own report and was saying, is there any way to make these, yeah, you're right about the repeating instrument. So is there any way to get rid of this blank row? And I'm like, unfortunately, no. And because of, anyway, there was never a way to apply ranges for dates, you know, down in your filters or whatever. You can add that. And there's actually a way for you to write data back to the database from the report. So rather than having to go to the data entry form itself, you can actually write data back to the form from within the report. So I do want to see if I already had set this up. I think I did this for test 1 and test 2. Somebody, Tanya, were you saying something? I guess not. Okay, so let me look at this test and this test. Okay, so I do have, so this is without setting up those types of filters with the report tweaks. You know, this is what you normally get. You get multiple lines here. You may get, and this is not a great one because I don't have a lot of data in here, but if you just glance at the first one, but with the filter, it will push things more together. So I encourage you to play around with this a little bit. It will, I think it will revolutionize some of the output that you have for your data that is so, it even makes it harder to analyze if you're doing an export from a report, to have everything in the same record will be very useful to you, I'm sure. So report tweaks, again, I got in here, I added went to enable the module, grabbed, that's not UI tweaker, it's report tweaks. All right. And I've thought about, see, if you look at these things, there's some orange ones that say enabled for all projects. And then the other ones are just say discoverable. That's something that's sort of on my end. Discoverable means that I've set it up so that you can see it when you go to enable a module. The orange ones are something that I've decided that I want you to have for all your projects. You don't have to use them, or maybe they're being used in the background and you don't even know it. But I've toyed with the idea of making this enabled, and I wanted to do the red zone demo first before I turned it on, but I might very well turn it on for all projects going forward. So play with that. Any questions? No? Okay. Oh,
I do have a question.
yeah, sure.
So when I change the report, if I use the report tweaks, does that change it on everybody's view or just my own?
Oh,
and then
that's a good question. So if you used it, I don't think it was, yeah, showing up here. So that's where you would, so if I understand I'm thinking about your question now. So it would show anybody that has access to that. So, you can customize the view or customize the edit.
Yeah.
And so if you want somebody to be able to see it, then when they open it, there's only one view. It's not with the tweaks or without the tweaks. Everybody will see it with the tweaks if you apply them to the project.
Okay. And then if my tag along question to that is, I already have like 30 reports. Is there any way to get the tweak incorporated into that? Because
that's another good question. And when I started playing around with it, the only reason that we haven't had time to really demo it. And I really wanted to figure out why it wasn't showing up. It was only showing up on a new report. And so if I do this, and I'm going to pop in some, let me just add a few fields right now.
Yeah, because even when I tried just real quick trying to like copy an existing one to see if it would show up as an option, it didn't.
Okay. All right, so I got it. Doesn't care. Oh. And then I want to do this. Okay, so I get all this, and here's that button so that you can write the data back to it. But if I go back to edit my report, it's gone. And that is something I don't really know. I'm just curious here real quick. Let me just see what the updates are. I've got some updates to apply for external modules. I don't know if one of these, no. So I don't have the answer for that, Jennifer. I'm not really sure if you're not unmuted.
No worries.
There you are. Okay. I don't have an answer to that, but I'm going to work on that and see if I can figure out why, or if worst comes to worst, I will contact the developer and see why it's not showing up in perpetually. It's just showing up for the initial design, which I think is relatively useless if you want to change it or even understand, you know, how or why it worked or whatever. Then you need to get back to it. So don't know the answer to that yet.
That's okay. It looks great though.
It's a nice feature, and it's nice to be able to make some of these changes for people that want a better view for their report for their users. Frequently you have an investigator that wants to see something and they don't really build the reports, they don't really necessarily understand the construction of, but they really want to see the output. And then you show them something like that and they're like, what the hell is that? I don't even understand why there are all these rows. What does this mean? Why? So this can be a good tool to have in your box.